Welcome, everyone. We're just waiting about 30 seconds to get some more of our attendees signed in. All right, hello everyone, and welcome to our first public community meeting on Temecula Parkway's pipeline replacement project. My name is Sylvia Ornelas. I'm the Public Information Specialist here at Rancho Water. I work in our Public Affairs Department, and I'm going to be facilitating our virtual meeting today. I'm going to go ahead and get started. I realize everyone's time is important and valuable. So with that said, thank you everyone for taking the time out today of your busy schedules to join us. I would like to quickly go over some housekeeping rules. So first, today's presentation will be recorded. So if you want to review it afterwards, it will be available. It will also be live streamed on our YouTube page. We have a few different presenters today. So I would encourage you to have a paper and a pen available so you can jot down your notes or write down questions that may come up. We ask that you hold all your questions until all three presenters are finished, just in case they answer a topic or a concern you may have. During registration, you did have the option to ask a question or express a concern. These will be addressed today as well during the meeting. We have a chat box that's going to be located at the bottom of your screen. So please feel free to utilize it if you have a question, and then we'll go ahead and address them in the order they come in at the end of all presentations. So first, I'd like to introduce our first speaker. His name is Jacob Wiley, and he's our engineering manager. Go ahead, Jake.
Thanks, Sylvia. Good afternoon, everyone. Yeah, Sylvia said I'm our engineering manager. I oversee here at the district our capital and development projects from design through construction. I'm a registered professional engineer in the state of California, have been for 20 years or so now, and I've been at the district for about 10 years. I've been involved in this project really since the onset, the Temecula Parkway pipeline project. Sylvia, do you want to introduce everybody, or you want me to roll right into?
Go ahead, and you can go ahead and start.
Okay, so we're here today to talk about the Temecula Parkway pipeline replacement project. And if you want to go to the first slide, Grace.
Hold on a second.
And really just wanted to start it by talking a little bit about the district's infrastructure. And Rancho California Water District owns, operates, maintains over 900 miles of buried pipeline. So really an extensive network of buried infrastructure. Really, we've grown with this community. So, you know, kind of from its early beginnings, the 60s and 70s, the district's about 55 years old now. But really, you know, we grew through some explosive growth in particular, the 80s and the 90s that really saw a bulk of the infrastructure go in. And while, you know, even to me, the 80s and 90s don't seem like that long ago, really we're talking about, you know, buried pipelines that are 30, 40 years old. And while we expect a lot of our buried infrastructure to last longer than that time period, have a useful life longer than 30 or 40 years, we also expect to see some issues with some pipeline deterioration. And that project we're going to talk about today really is an example of that. And really when we're talking about water main breaks, and I included a few photos here just to give you a visual look about what this looks like. And these are actual photos from Temecula Parkway and the pipeline that we're going to be talking about today. you can just see some of the issues that we see. This is a steel pipeline, and you can see from the photos just some of the corrosion that goes on, and really it results in water main breaks, leaks or breaks. And depending on the severity of those breaks, they really can be damaging to their surroundings. And you can see that in that top picture to the right. That's Temecula Parkway there. This was one of the breaks that we've seen, and really just unplanned disruption for the community. You can see the traffic backed up there. You can see us really repaving miles of the road, really in an unplanned fashion. And so these get very expensive as well. Each time these breaks occur, it's really uncontrolled. And so the extent of the damage often just kind of creeps beyond just the pipeline repair. And really the other thing I wanted to touch on was the safety concerns. And once we see a pipeline that's given us a history of issues, really it's our responsibility to take care of it. Serious safety concerns when you think about flooding roadways, undermining of roadways that can result in sinkholes and things of that nature. So the district very much takes its responsibility seriously, that when we start to see these issues, we really need to act. We need to make the necessary repairs or replacements that really give us a solid infrastructure. So just wanted to give you a little bit of that background. And instead of me fumbling through trying to describe the project to you, our public relations department's actually made a really nice video that I think goes through all the key points. And so we're going to play that for you today, and then we'll have a little bit more on the presentation to touch on some things. But if Grace, if you want to cue up the video.
Yes. In November 2020, Rancho Water will start.
It looks like the sound stopped. Give us 1 second and we'll go ahead and start it over. 1 second.
The sound stopped? In November 2020, Rancho Water will start construction on the Temecula Parkway pipeline replacement project. The project will replace nearly 8,000 feet of recycled water pipeline running under Temecula Parkway between Bedford Court and Rancho Pueblo Road, which translates to just over 1.5 miles of purple pipeline. This pipeline has an essential role. It delivers recycled water for irrigation and landscaping to the community's beloved parks, large and small businesses along Temecula Parkway, golf courses, and schools. The pipeline will be replaced on Temecula Parkway in 4 phases, moving from west to east. Construction will take place on Temecula Parkway in the westbound lanes. The eastbound lanes will stay open. During construction, westbound Temecula Parkway will be reduced down to 1 lane. While access to neighborhoods and businesses will be maintained at all times, traffic delays are expected on Temecula Parkway. Alternate routes are available in all phases, with the exception of Phase 1. Construction will start November 2020 and is anticipated for completion in May 2021. We've tried to make construction as easy as possible for the community through a compressed construction schedule and longer daily construction hours, so we can avoid the disruption of multiple road closures spread over a longer construction period. You might be wondering why Rancho is doing this work now. The pipeline has become corroded over the past 20+ years and needs to be replaced. It is being replaced now with an upgraded, stronger material to avoid potential for future pipeline breaks, which are expensive and impactful for the community. We'd rather deal with the impact of construction now, rather than frequent unplanned inconveniences that will only continue as the pipeline gets older. The more we use recycled water for things like irrigation and landscaping, the more water is available to district customers for drinking, cooking, laundry, baths, or showers. The Temecula Parkway Pipeline Replacement Project offset enough water to provide drinking water for 60,000 people per year, which is about 10% of Rancho's service area. We're committed to keeping you informed throughout the project construction. Stay informed. Visit our website at ranchowater.com/pipeline to sign up for email alerts and follow us on Facebook.
Thank you. And I realized that the volume was a little low. If you want to view the video again, it's also on our website, which is ranchowater.com/pipeline, and it's also available on our YouTube channel.
Thanks, Sylvia. So just wanted to touch on a couple of highlights too, as we've kind of headed into construction. We've been under design on this project for several years. And actually we bid this project mid last year in 2019, and really saw a couple of interesting things, namely low bidder participation, very little interest in construction of the project by eligible contractors. And that really resulted in very high bid prices. The actual initial bid price we received back in 2019 was almost $7 million for the project, which is really, really high for this length of pipeline. And really, we solicited a lot of feedback from the contractors to find out kind of what the reason was behind that. And really, the main driver was some very restrictive work hours that were going to result in a very drawn out construction period. So a very long window of construction, really low production day after day. They didn't feel they could really get much pipe in the ground or make much progress on a day-to-day basis. So with that information, really felt like it was in our ratepayers' best interests and the city of Temecula community's best interest to really revisit and see what we could do about trying to address some of those issues. And so we worked with the city primarily. They control the right-of-way and the encroachment permit, and really worked with them to really for two goals, and trying to get some cost savings for our ratepayers and the city of Temecula's constituents, who are the same people, and really looking for some schedule reductions to narrow that window of construction to really lessen the impacts on the community. And so we made some modifications to the project, took a few months and incorporated those into some revised bid documents. And we rebid the project just this last March, and really successful on both fronts. We actually saw a $2.3 million reduction in the actual bid. So we went from a low bid of $6.7 million down to $4.4 million. And that actually also included an incentive clause. So we put a really tight schedule within the contract documents that the contractor has to adhere to, and on top of that, just to really try to facilitate some creativity by the contractor, we actually include an incentive. If he can finish early, there's actually some incentive bonus money in there to that he can earn. And really, I think that did two things. It really stoked the interest in the bid. So I actually think it resulted potentially in even lower bids, because we ended up getting a dozen bidders on the second round. But even without the incentive clause, also we reduced the schedule by over 3 months of construction in the street. So really a 90-day reduction in the in-street construction window. So those are really good things ahead of construction. Obviously, we're going to, those are things to be celebrated, but we still have to construct the pipeline, and there is going to be some impacts. And so I'm going to turn it over to Casey Arndt. He's going to introduce himself. He's our construction contracts manager, and to really talk about some of the traffic impacts and other things that are going to really impact the community as this goes on. So, Casey.
Thank you, Jake. Again, my name is Casey Arndt. I'm the construction contracts manager here at Rancho. I've been with Rancho now just over 2 years, but I have over 20 years of construction experience, construction inspection and management experience in a public sector, dealing with these types of projects specifically. And some major projects on my resume that go through some very major thoroughfares. Probably the most known is the Carlsbad desalination project, where I spent 3 years as the project manager with the city of Carlsbad. with that project. So much larger, 10 miles of 57-inch pipeline right down the heart of Carlsbad. So I'm very familiar with these types of projects, and this project is going to be a challenge for sure, but we're going to manage it and do everything we can to mitigate everything we can with the contractor. So it's a good contractor, and I want to talk a little bit about how the traffic patterns and the traffic control is going to impact mostly the community public, because that's really what most people are going to be concerned with. So let me put this up here. Okay, so what you're seeing here is a satellite view of the project as a whole, highlighted by 3 different colors. The project itself is put into 4 phases, although you see 3 here on the screen. I'll talk about each one specifically because they all have a little bit different impact. The first phase, which is going to be the westernmost phase, is this small phase down here from Bedford Court to La Paz, and really this work is 100% night work. So the work itself will take place only at night. It will not be done during the day. It's a pretty short schedule. We're looking at 20 calendar days worth of work in phase 1. And all of the traffic control that you see here will actually go down to 1 lane. It'll be what's called the number 1 lane. I'm sorry, excuse me. So the slow lane will be the only lane available. The number 1 and number 2 lanes will be closed. And when I talk about that, so the bike lane and this, the very, very right lane will be the only lane open to traffic. These other 2 lanes will be closed to traffic throughout the entire project, but not through all 4 phases at one time, only during that phase. So phase 1 is 100% night work, and the contractor cannot do any work cannot do subsequent work in any phase, any 2 phases at a time. So when they're complete with phase 1, they're going to pick up all that traffic control. They're going to open all that back up, and then we're going to move into phase 2A. Phase 2A goes from La Paz to Pechanga Parkway. So Pechanga Parkway, this is the second phase. Traffic control will be set up 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It will not come down, so that number 1 and number 2 lane will be closed for the entire duration of phase 2A, with that single lane and the bike lane open westbound. However, as you can see here, we've got the alternate route number 2, which is Jedediah Smith to La Paz, as an alternate route. We're hoping that folks will find as many other ways around the traffic control zone as they can. And again, the traffic control is only going to be in that phase. So from Pechanga Parkway to La Paz. So all of everything to the east and everything to the west of that will be open fully. Once that phase is 33 days, 35 days in length, that phase will be completely done, and then they'll move to phase 2B, which is Pechanga Parkway east to Jedediah Smith. So that's the second half. So it's a separate phase from 2A. Same thing, traffic control will be up 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, with the slow lane and the bike lane are the only lanes open. There will be provisions for all of the businesses to the south. For the left turns that they can make where they're available, the contractor is required to have a flagman there to allow traffic to go across the construction zone through that phase. So you will be able to make a left turn there to wherever possible when there's a break in the median. As we move easterly from Jedediah Smith all the way to Rancho Pillar Road, again, it's going to be the same thing where the traffic control is going to have the number 1 and number 2 lanes closed with the slow lane and the bike lane open. But this lane, the work here is only Monday through Friday from 9 to 9. So the traffic control, again, stays up, but the working hours are a little bit different. In phases 2A and 2B, they're actually 16-hour days, 6 days a week. We work from Sunday to Friday, and the work hours are 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. every single day. I'm sorry, excuse me. Yeah, 10 to 6 a.m. every day. Yeah, no construction. I'm sorry, excuse me. No construction from 10 to 6. So, excuse me, I got that backwards. So again, while the contractor won't be there working 24 hours a day, there'll be an 8-hour window where they're not working, and that's from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m., but the traffic control will remain up. And then phase four, which is not shown here, that's because it's actually a collection of all 4 phases. It's the part of the project where we test the pipeline, we do our connections, we do our shutdowns, and things like that. So again, the contractor will work in these phases in the traffic control, but it's all one phase, and it kind of completes the project when we get the final paving and striping and things like that done. So all in all, it's a very large project in terms of as a whole, but we've done everything we can to shorten the duration and shorten the impacts by creating these phases so that the contractor has to be done with each phase, allowing the traffic to move once they're out of each phase. So that's all I have really in terms of the traffic control. I'll be happy to answer any other questions that anybody has in terms of the project or times.
Okay, thank you. We will go ahead and introduce Grace, if you want to go ahead and introduce yourself and if you have anything to add at this point.
Yeah, sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Grace Cardenas. I'm the Public Information Officer here at Rancho Water. And our job really is to communicate about all aspects of the district to all of our customers. And on this project specifically, we're really dedicated to making sure that everyone feels informed along the way and throughout each phase. And so one of the best ways to stay in communication with us is on our website. Can you see the PowerPoint or this?
Yes.
I was trying to show you the pop-up. So if you go onto our website at ranchowater.com/pipeline, there should be a pop-up box that comes up and it says sign up for construction alerts. And if you add in your email address there, that way we can add you to our list. And as we move through construction and through each phase, we'll be able to inform you along the way via email. And we also want to encourage you to reach out to us at any time. Our phone number is 951-296-6904. And that's all I have.
Great, thank you. So now we're going to go ahead and do our Q&A section. So as a reminder, there is a box at the bottom of the screen. You can go ahead and type it into the Q&A section. If you have any other questions that were not addressed today, we'll go ahead and answer them in the order received. We do have a couple in the chat box here, so I'm going to go ahead and read. So someone wanted to know if we can, if the meeting's going to be available afterwards, and it definitely is. It's going to be on our YouTube page. And then if you also want to send an email to us, it's construction@ranchowater.com, and we can go ahead and send you the direct link via email as well. Our next question is, what is the type of pipe material that's in the ground currently, and what material are you using now?
Oh, I'll go ahead and take that one. Yeah, this section is it's a section of steel pipeline. Actually, everything that adjoins to it is PVC, but this was a section of pipeline that was installed in the mid-90s as part of road realignments. So we replaced the section. It was replaced with steel. We will be replacing this steel pipeline with PVC, so it'll match the pipelines that are around that have not exhibited any issues. Obviously, no corrosion associated with those. So yeah, we'll be replacing the steel with PVC, polyvinyl chloride, which is a plastic, strong plastic pipe.
Great, thank you. Another question from another attendee is concerned about speeds of redirected traffic when they are riding their horse on Inez, La Paz, and Portola. Hoping for reduced speed limits, heavy police presence to deter speeding, and painted lines, improve markers at designated equestrian pedestrian crossing points throughout the Los Ranchitos neighborhood. How are you working with the city to ensure neighborhood safety during this time?
We actually worked with the city to reduce the speed limit during construction on Jedediah Smith on La Paz. And so I can't remember exactly what the speed limit is now, but I want to say they reduced it down to 30, but I can check into that for you.
Great, and while you're looking for that, our next question wants to know, during non-work hours, will the lanes that are closed be reopened?
Yeah, and so I'll take that one. So during phase one, the traffic control will only be up and the lanes closed during working hours, which are Sunday through Thursday, 7 p.m. to 5 a.m. Again, only night work, and the traffic control will be taken down at the end of each shift. So during the normal commuting hours, the traffic control will be down. During phases 2A and 2B, the traffic control will be up 24/7. So it'll be up around the clock, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Although the work hours are 16 hours a day. There's an 8-hour period where the work will not be going on, but the traffic control will remain in place. Phases 3 and 4, the traffic control will go up during work hours. And so for phase 3, that's Monday to Friday, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. And during phase 4, the hours will remain the same for each phase, but the traffic control will come up and down as necessary.
Sylvia, on that last question, I looked into it. They are reducing the speed limit on D. Portola to Inez to 30 miles per hour. And we're going to work with the city on what else we can do in that area to help reduce the speed limit and everyone feel comfortable with the traffic.
Thank you. Our next question says, I missed the pipe size. Was it 16-inch or 24-inch?
It's actually it's a 20-inch diameter.
All right, great. It does not look like there's any more questions. There was a question about phase 3 again, but Casey, you just covered that again. So I think we're good. We don't have any more questions. So I just kind of wanted to thank everybody for coming today. We are going to be hosting another community meeting next week, which is going to be on Tuesday at 6 p.m. The content will be the same as this meeting. So if you attend it today, you don't have to come next week. But if you have any family or neighbors or anyone else that you think is interested in this information, please let them know about the meeting next week. And with that, thank you everyone for attending.